Hi, this is Dr. Y. Srinivas Rao, Dean Academics and R&D from Sardar Patel Institute of Technology and co-founder Go Green Technologies. Earlier, we have discussed about how to write a technical paper. Now, in this session, we will discuss about how to prepare a presentation. Since we are talking in the context of technical paper writing, technical presentations, there are some tips one can use while giving the presentations. These presentations could be your progress seminars, the presentations could be your defending your thesis, or the presentations could be your keynote talks. Presentation is an art, undoubtedly. One has to master through experience or maybe inspiration from a good speakers. There is no magic formula here for good presentation. Some speakers tend to be business like, more effective way of giving the presentation. Some people prefer to be informal but still effective. So let's see, while preparing this presentation, how to prepare the contents, how to prepare the slides. That's what is this topic is. Every organizer, either it could be a conference or it could be a defense examination, it could be a progress seminars. Every organizer will give you some time slot that could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, and some time for question and answers. So you have to organize your topic, your contents, your slides in such a way that whatever is the time slot given to you, you have to fit it into that, because the audience, the reviewers, the examiners, they comes with that mindset that in a given slot you are presenting. Even if you are pitching for a fund, maybe you may be pitching for a lakh of rupees to some crores of rupees. Even then, the time slot given during these proposals, business proposals, also some stipulated time, because there are many presenters are there. It's not a casual discussion. So you have to organize your contents in such a way that in a given time slot, you need to convey your contributions and some time for some discussion and question answers. Since you are presenting at a new venue, naturally the organizers have their own systems. Make sure your slides, maybe some audios, some reference papers, all the documents required for presentations are ready at the venue. It should not happen that no, there is a problem in your pen drives or net problem or some audio problems. This should not happen, right? No surprises to the audience, examiners. Then it will create unpleasant atmosphere. They will become impatient. Slides, when you prepare the slides, how much amount of time you will spend on each slide. Generally, people also nowadays say that not more than 5 slides, not more than 8 slides, 10 slides, like that. That means whatever is the time slot given to you, keeping in mind that you need to decide how much time you are spending on each slide, maybe few seconds to few minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So when you prepare a slide, make sure it should not be one or two sentence slides. That means not too little, but at the same time not too much on one slide. Arrange the material so that you have figures, equations, text on the slides. We all can understand that the figures will convey much more than the pictures convey much more than you keep on speaking the things. Instead of saying thousand words, better put one picture. That will be more effective. Since it is a presentation, better to make a bulleted statements, itemize. Do not too verbose on your slides. That will help you in easily conveying. You should explain rather about your contributions. Do not be too verbose in your speech at the same time. It is difficult for the audience to grasp things that are said once after another without any reference to the material. Sometimes we have this habit that what you present on this slide is different and what you started speaking, conveying is different. So do not to distract or to verbose. When you prepare your presentation, there will be a start, there will be end. Make sure the start of your presentation is about organization of your slides, and end of your slide could be some conclusion about your contributions, summarize. If you have some co-workers, if you have taken anybody's help, nothing wrong. After conclusion, acknowledge them. When you give the presentation, you should have eye to eye contact with the audience because that will convey you have you lost in presentation by looking at their facial expressions. Accordingly, right, you can also change your talk. So when you are presenting your contents, when you move your slides, do not go back and forth with the slides. It will indicate that you have not properly organized your presentation. And it is difficult for the audience also to keep the track of your slides. So do not jump back and forth while moving the slides. Be in a sequential nature, except maybe the previous slide, you can go back. Do not learn your presentation by hearting the things, right? It has to come from your contributions, not by reading the slides. So it must make a firm impression on the audience that yes, you are you have contributed in your work. When we prepare our slides, make sure the background should not distract the audience. Your slide may consist of equations, figures, so make sure the background is generally white. And animations. In latex, animations is by default are not there. But since if you are using the Microsoft tools, right? It doesn't mean that since the tool is providing the animations, let us use all the features. It's not like that. You are not here to demonstrate whatever is the tool is providing the animations. Make it as simple as possible. Even while preparing the presentations, slides, we prefer latex tool because since it is a technical presentation, I am sure your presentation has a lot of equations. Instead of making the images of the equations, it should be a printable symbols. So better use latex because latex is a script which will print your equations directly in your slides. And since you already prepared your documentation report, so it won't take much time to use the same script, same commands, even in the while preparing the slides. If you have some multiple figures, multiple curves, try to label them with some arrows and be consistent in the line style, right? If you have used dotted line, then it should convey something. The symbols, the color, it should convey something. Every plot, every curve has some purpose. Also, you should label the axis. Do not forget that appropriate units and the captions in the figures. Generally, this we tend to forget, and the audience will ask that what is the unit of your plots. Sometimes we compare the curves, compare the figures. In that case, better the curves should be on the same plot, the figure should be on the same slide so that it is easy for the audience to understand when you're explaining the comparison. No guessing. Like I said in documentation also, if you have some plots, figures, make sure the aspect ratio is maintained in x-axis as well as y-axis so that the originality of the figure doesn't change. Otherwise, the circle will become ellipse and so on, or the letters also too fat, too narrow, like that. Try to avoid the situation where you ask the audience to go back several slides and relate what they saw there to the matter being presented in the current slide. So try to have whatever you are presenting, those contents are there itself when you are conveying the things in the current slide. And naturally, definitely there will be 5 to 10 minutes of question and answer session. Some people may ask why during the presentations, but some people may wait till your presentation is over and they may ask the questions. So every slide should have some numbers, every equations, every figure should have numbers because they might have noted down those. So do not get nervous if you are unable to answer to the audience. It is perfectly fine to admit that you do not know and you convey that you will get back on those questions. But repeatedly saying that you are unable to answer, you require some more time, It's a bad preparation, conveys as if you have not contributed enough while preparing, while working your research. So, presentation has a equal weightage. Particularly, we have seen it's a semester long projects, semester long internship programs, and you are given 15 minutes of time. So, time management, slides management, question and answers, you should thoroughly prepare and properly in an organized manner. There are equal amount of weightage is there, not only for your work, for the presentation. That's why we always say 50% of the weightage almost is given for your defending your work. In PG and PhD programs, or maybe during the interviews, it's not a group activity. When you are giving presentations and when you are answering for the questions, it's an individual work. So that's the reason you should have presentation communication as an individual preparation. Not that if your partner is a good speaker and if he or she is conveying, you are done with that. That's okay for some mini projects, but not during research work, defending your thesis, or the interviews. You have to practice, one has to practice a lot, not by hearting the things, but it has to come intuitively from your talk, your contributions. All right, so these are some tips we have prepared. We just followed at IIT, and subsequently, I will just keep on presenting these things at various platforms so that it will convey your work properly to the audience and to the examiners. And this is applicable also for your in your career. All right, so all the best. Thank you for listening.